You ain't seen anything yet. That's all I got to say. It doesn't bother me because I know that we haven't seen a damn thing yet. And when rates accentuate themselves and get high enough to really start to rattle the markets and or the Fed and their policy decisions, you will see people in the mainstream wake up to an alternative because everyone who's wealthy in this country, by and large, has an allocation of stocks and bonds and real estate, and it's worked well until it doesn't. And they haven't thought of alternatives. They had no reason to until they do. And that's when everything that I've seen and talk about happens. I have a curse of seeing things too far ahead. I mean, it's just logic. All I gotta do is put logic to this. And when you look at what the rest of the world is doing right now, de-dollarizing, it's just an inevitability. The question is when. And these pullbacks in premium, in price, in rhetoric, these are all opportunities if you see the big picture. At least that's the way I look at the big picture.
We also have had a lot of concern about clients, concerned about government reporting, government scrutiny, bank scrutiny. I can't tell you how many questions every week from clients saying, gee, what if I go over the $10,000 limit? Will my purchase be reported? Or if I buy more than a certain amount, will my purchase be reported? If I live in California and I buy more than a certain amount, will my purchase be reported? And we have to keep reminding people that Miles Franklin never, and dealers are not mandated to report sales. So we can sell any amount of metals to anybody in any state, and there's no mandated reporting. There is some confusion then about, we've talked about this before, 1099B reporting when we buy back from clients certain quantities of certain products. But there's also new concerns coming out about, well, why are the banks asking more questions than they used to ask? And there was a new one that came up this week. It was new to me. And that was somebody saying that in the new 2023 1040 form, there's a question about, do you own any gold or silver? And is this new intrusion and new snooping by the government? I looked it up. I could not find any references to that. So if anybody has a reference to that or a link to an actual IRS document, please email it to me at libertyandfinance@protonmail.com. What I did find was a lot of articles from various financial advice sites telling you about capital gains taxes and how you can, if you don't want to pay the 28% collectibles capital gains tax on owning physical precious metals, then just buy an ETF that doesn't allow you to take physical possession. And then you can treat it like a stock and hold it for more than 12 months and all this stuff, and that'll solve all your problems. So can you address that question about new intrusive questions, whether you've heard about any from either the government, from banks, the IRS, about reporting? That's number one. And number two, if people really do want to own physical precious metals, is there any tax smart way to do it, knowing that we're not tax advisors?
Well, the banks have been getting worse and worse and worse. And on a big picture, look at it from the bank's perspective. And I don't know if you want to even take it further and say that the government is all over them and telling them that they need to do this. Maybe that's part of it. But, the banks right now in this, look, we've ended a 40-year trend. We are ending a 40-year trend of declining interest rates, and that's being replaced with rising interest rates. And the banks are starting to rein in credit. You're seeing over $2 trillion in the reverse repo market. The banks don't want to lend money out into the system. They'd rather leave it at the Fed earning next, 4% with safety rather than lend it out to you or I for a car payment or a home equity loan or whatever it may be. And we're seeing a sea change with bankers where in mass psychology, where greed for profits and lending is being replaced with caution and fear. So that's the way that they're looking. They're concerned, but they're also concerned about losing depositors. And when I did that very large deal in July, it took a woman 4 days to get $50 million taken out of her bank account. That's what she wanted me to tell everyone, that, look, it's a lot easier to deposit $50 million than it is to get it out. And I'm a big client. And so the banks are concerned about losing money, and they want to know, where are you putting your money? Well, none of your damn business. But I think more than anything, they're just very concerned about people pulling their money out of a banking system that's over leveraged, that's paying nothing. Even though rates are rising, we haven't seen any of that move over into checking and savings accounts. They're still next to nothing. So people look at the risk associated, the systemic risk. They look at something like FTX. They look at these these dominoes that could fall, and they say, well, I'm leaving my money in a bank where FDIC insurance is woefully undercapitalized, and and I'm getting nothing in return, so I'm going to pull my money out. Well, the banks don't like that so much, and they're inquisitive. Have I heard of anything that is new? No. I mean, I told the story of, I had two $2,000 checks, and I went to the bank and I wanted all $20 bills. And the lady said, well, that'll be a very big stack. I said, yeah, that's okay. I'm okay with it. And she said, well, what are you going to do with it? And it took everything I had to not really go off, and I wanted to so badly. But I didn't. I said, I got a plan for it. And you could see she spent 4 minutes typing something out, basically saying I'm a drug dealer or whatever it was that she was putting in her suspicious activity report form, the SARS form. It's just the world we live in, I guess, right now. And, it's decreasing privacy. It's a world where privacy is something that is fleeting. And one of the things that I enjoy the most about my metals is that no one knows what I have. I don't even really know exactly what I have. And I think that, you could call it a loophole. Now, as far as a legal loophole, where there's still a way to legally have some privacy, because when you buy it, the only loss in privacy in buying metal is writing out a check or sending a wire. Is that a loss in privacy? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It disappears. And then the metal is buried somewhere in your backyard. You got to try to find, I don't remember where I put it. I'll figure it out. It's there somewhere. The point of it is that, no, it's one of the last few things that give you privacy in a world of diminished privacy, increased litigation, and